Hello, everyone. Today I am going to redo a video I did long time ago on YouTube. It was like the first video I ever did, and it wasn't bad. It was just the wrong direction of the video, and I was kind of wandering, and so it was a informative video. It was just a little rough edged. So for this one, I'm going to take off the rough edges. So I'll divide this one into chapters so you can find the section that you need or that you want, because it's going to be a little bit long, and that's okay. This one has to do with safety in your power wheelchair, when you're using it in different situations. So, and I'll break it down. I'm going to be a little bit more organized this time. So hopefully this will be more helpful than the first one I did. So, okay, here we go. So the first thing I'm going to address is the weight of the power wheelchair. Any power wheelchair is going to be heavy. I think I have one of the lighter ones probably, and mine weighs 204.8 pounds. So write that down. Mine is a simple power wheelchair. And again, it weighs 204.8 pounds, plus me in it. That's about 400 pounds. So that's pretty hefty weight. So I just want to put that out there. If you have a complex power wheelchair, that's going to weigh between 400 and 500 pounds, not counting the person in it. So these weigh a lot, and we're going to talk a little bit about the weight and speed and all that kind of stuff. We're not going to do math, don't worry, but we are going to add that into how you're going to calculate your speed and all that kind of stuff. All right, so weight of the power wheelchairs, which is really important. The simple power wheelchairs are 200 and some pounds, and the complex power wheelchairs are usually 350 pounds on up. All right, so now we're going to talk about speed. And the speed is really important. It's going to vary depending on what's going on and what your environment is. So you really have to, I have it here in where I live, I have it at a 2 or a 2.5. Power wheelchairs usually can go 3.5 to 4.5 miles per hour in general. Some power wheelchairs can go faster because it just depends on the needs of the person. If they are in college or they work or whatever, sometimes they can order a power wheelchair that has faster speeds. But usually as a rule, they'll go at least in a maximum of 4 to 4.5 miles per hour. Now, that might not seem like a lot. You know, if you've driven a car, you can go 30 miles per hour on the roads for the most part. But power wheelchairs, for every good reason, you need to moderate your speed. So here in the building, I go about 2.5. In a grocery store, I'll do a 2 or a 2.5 because there's people around. If I'm by myself and I'm racing across the parking lot, I'll go 4 miles per hour. It's a pretty good parking lot. So I do have to consider the terrain. So, but one of the things you want to consider if you're going to go a little bit faster or you're outdoors, put on your seatbelt. Okay, some people might say, Lisa, why do I want to use my seatbelt? It's like, because you do. I'm going to get to going faster and being outside, but a seatbelt is really there for your protection. If you have to kind of stop suddenly, you want to be still sitting in the wheelchair by the time you stop. So the wheelchair, in all, the parts that it has, all the basic parts are for your protection. You got to remember that. So speed. When people are around, I usually do 2.5. If I'm outside by myself, I'll do between a 3.5, and I'll explain how I choose my speeds. In your speed dial, it doesn't have numbers. I wish it did, because that would help us, remember what speed we're using for what. But you'll be able to remember the position of the dial. So, or if you have a digital box and a screen, then you'll be able to know what number you choose for what things. So, speed, really important. We're going to talk a lot about that from here on. Surroundings. So I was talking a little bit about outside versus indoors and people being around you. So you really have to calculate your speed according to the environment. So if you're in your house and you're the only one, you can do between 2 and 3 miles per hour. You want to make sure that you don't go too fast, because you want to be able to stop in time so you don't make holes in the walls, so you don't bump into something like a table and knock something over. So you really want to make sure you're going at a speed that you can handle, you can stop in time. Let me see, surroundings. So yeah, if you have pets or people in the home, you're going to want to keep it at a 2.5, so that you can stop in time and not run over your pet and not run somebody over. So that is a suggestion. You know your environment, you know your home, and if you have a few ramps that you need to do, also slow down when you're going over those transitions. You don't want to go too fast. In my case, I have a lot of pain, so I do have to go over transitions a little bit slower, so I don't aggravate my pain areas. If you're outside, it means you can go a little bit faster, but also sometimes you won't be able to, because not all sidewalks are made equal, and sometimes they have potholes, sometimes they have larger cracks or dividers between one section and another, and you want to slow down for those things. So you need to make sure if you're going over a crack that you don't hit it too hard. You can slow down to, a 2.5. If there's no potholes or significant cracks, you can go a good 3 miles per hour and you'll be fine. You still need to be going at a speed you can handle, a speed that you're not going to bump into somebody, and a speed in which it is good to be able to cross a street. Parking lots, sometimes they have significant cracks and potholes and dips, so you want to go at a speed that's not going to break your power wheelchair, it's not going to hurt you. So, my parking lot is pretty new, it's in pretty good shape, so I can go about 3 miles per hour. I don't go faster because there are cars going through the parking lot. I need to be able to stop or to change directions. There are people walking in and out of the building, so I'm also careful with that. I really slow down when I'm approaching the building. So you really have to moderate your speed depending on the ground, the condition of the ground, cars, people, transitions. So, and you'll get a feel for that the more you practice. So, all right, we're going to go into people and pets. This is really important. Some pets do well with wheelchairs around them. So, or they, sometimes you might have to help the pet get used to having a motorized wheelchair near them. Because these wheelchairs weigh, it's important for them to get used to it and not get too close. You don't want to run over their tail. You don't want to run over their paws. So that's going to be really important. They might want to play with you and chase the wheelchair, all that kind of stuff, but you need to, teach them to be careful. And that might take some time. So just be careful with the pets. With people, your power wheelchair is going to be pretty quiet for the most part, so sometimes people can't hear your chair coming. So that's really important. If they're coming around the corner or coming through a door and you're coming down the hall, you need to be able to be at a speed in which you'll be able to stop, before you bump into them. So speed is an important thing to practice. it's important also, I'm just going to add a little tidbit here, to ask them not to lean on your chair because that's a little uncomfortable. The chair becomes part of you. And unless they're a caregiver and they need to make some adjustments for you, it's important for them not to, be leaning on your chair or holding on to your chair. You want to keep the chair clean, and you want to make sure that you feel comfortable with them doing that or not doing that. So you need to speak up for your needs. But overall, with speed, you need to be aware of where people are at, and especially if you're in a crowd, keep your distance when you have people around you. Let's say you go to the mall is a good example and it's crowded. You want to keep your distance from the person at least 4 feet, 3 feet behind them, so that if they suddenly stop, that you don't go into them. So it's just all those things that you need to learn to calculate speed and distance so that you don't bump into somebody and hurt them, or for them to accidentally spill something on you or hurt you. So it's their weight and your weight and the chair, and things can get messy. So you want to practice that, that you're able to stop in time, that you keep your distance from people. I have elderly members around me, so they have a hard time sometimes stopping, or they could lose their balance. So I'm very careful in keeping my distance so they don't feel discombobulated. They know to look for me, but I also look out for them. So it goes both ways. People need to look out for you, and you need to look out for them. Now, there are some people who are very jumpy, and you'll see this once you get into the public more and more. They all of a sudden, they'll cross to the other side of the road, or they'll cross the hallway in the mall and stand like 100 feet away from you, which is not necessary. What I do when people get jumpy and they start, creating this huge distance, I just say, you're okay, you're fine, So some people are not quite sure how to handle having a wheelchair near them. So I just say, oh, don't worry, you're fine. I see you. So I just kind of give them reassurance that they're okay and that I've seen them. So so you're going to see strange reactions from some people and normal reactions from others. So, all right, ups and downs with hills, or if you have a ramp that you need to deal with. Power wheelchairs automatically slow down when they're going down either a hill or a ramp. There's not anything you can do about that. It just out of safety will slow you down, and that's okay. It's for your protection. So if you feel like you're going downhill and you want to go faster, the wheelchair probably won't go any faster because it's trying to tell you, I'm slowing this machine down, so you get down at the bottom safe. So it will do that every time. So just know that downhill, your power wheelchair all on its own is going to slow down. Going uphill, the power wheelchair will also slow down a little bit, but if you want to put some more speed in it, it will go faster. But it'll get up there. Power wheelchairs have good strength in them, so they can get through hills very well and going up ramps really well. So don't worry about that. It will get you up there. My power wheelchair, again, is a strong little puppy, and it gets through hills up and down really well. So I feel safe, I feel secure, and I avoid things that are very steep. If I feel something that's really steep, I'm careful. At my church, the ramp that goes up to the altar is, I think, a little bit more slanted than it should. So I have some tight space to turn around and go back down the ramp. But so I don't. I go down backwards, and I'm okay. I can't change from going backwards to turning around in mid-ramp because there's a feeling that the chair might tip over. So I stay in one direction. So if I'm going down, I go backwards. If I'm going up, then I go forward. So facing forward. So it's those kind of things that you have to kind of calculate. I want to get back to surroundings a little bit. And I promise myself not to jump over, but I'll put it in the right, I'll cut it and slice it and put it in the right section. But if you want to go on trails and things like that, it's important for you to consider when you order your power wheelchair, what kind of terrains you want to be on. Is it just going to be indoors? Is it going to be outdoors? Is it going to be on trails and parks and things like that? So it'll be important for the therapist to know that, so they give you the right kind of wheels and the right kind of power wheelchair. So when I ordered mine, I told them that I like to go outdoors. So they gave me a power wheelchair that could handle that and the appropriate wheels, because there are wheels that are good for indoors and there are wheels that are good for outdoors, and there are wheels that can do both. So, that is an important tip for you to know, and I'll put this section here for wheels. There are all kinds of wheels for manual wheelchairs and power wheelchairs, but especially for power wheelchairs. You want to make sure that whatever you order, that the wheels are okay for indoors, because if they're not, and they're only made for outdoors, what's going to happen is that rubber is a bit softer when it's only for outdoors, and it will mark up your floors. If you have any tile or linoleum, it will mark it up, and it's going to get messy. So you want to make sure that the wheels that you are given are for outdoors and indoors, so it doesn't mark up your floors or your carpet. There are power wheelchairs that have wheels that are only for indoors. So if you go outdoors with that power wheelchair, you need to make sure that you are careful with cracks and dips and potholes, because those wheels won't have much give in them, and it'll be much bumpier. So just wanted to put that out there for the type of wheels you want to look at. Can you change your wheels? Of course it can. They are a little bit more expensive than the wheels for manual wheelchairs, but you can change them if you're having some issues. You might have to pay for them if the warranty is expired, but you can check with your manufacturer. You can check with the Garage and Handles power wheelchairs and see what they might cost. This is a hearty welcome for you if you are new to Power Wheelchairs for Success. We have people who come from all over, so welcome to you wherever you come from. If you want to please like the video. That tells me that you enjoyed it, and also helps to spread the video around YouTube so other people can benefit from it as well. Subscribing to the channel is completely free. All the subscription will do is to alert you when there are new videos from my channel or from other people's channels if you're interested in their channels. But for my channel, if you're interested in learning about and knowing about new posts, when I post videos, please feel free to subscribe and you'll get notified when I post something.